Hello and welcome to Design Boss Dialogue, the podcast where bold and ambitious women in interior design come for real conversations to transform and take their businesses to new heights. I am your host, Lisa Marie Elkhadraoui, interior designer and business mentor, here to share my experiences and insights into running an interior design business, as well as empowering you to build the confident, profitable design business you've been dreaming of and truly deserve. In this space, we blend creativity with strategy to help you craft your success and thrive in the world of design. Every episode is packed with unfiltered, no BS conversations, daily inspiration, and actionable business tips to turn your passion into a thriving, cash-rich business. Together, we're redefining what it means to succeed in the interior design industry, one intentional, game-changing decision at a time. So get ready to step up, elevate, and create the design empire you've always envisioned. Welcome, Laura, onto today's podcast. It's gorgeous to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. So, Laura Perkes is a PR strategist. She is the founder of PR with Perkes and author of How to Get PR with over 21 years of experience under her belt. She works with ambitious entrepreneurs to unlock their fame factor, turn heads and be seen, heard and hired and paid as the authority. And today we're going to be diving into the world of PR, and Laura's going to be giving us some little toolkits and tips in terms of how you would even think about starting to get your business out there. So Laura, the world of PR, it's such a big place. Yeah. And I have so many interior designers come to me to say, how can I get myself out there? Where do we start?
It is a very good question, and my answer may surprise people because you need to start with really understanding what you want to be known for. Because yes, on the surface, you're an interior designer, but you probably have a speciality within that. Are you working with residential properties? Are you working in commercial? Are you working in hospitality? What's your design style? Because that's what people will remember you by. It's your signature look, your signature style, the words that you use to describe the transformations that you create when you're working with clients. And for me, really honing in on what you want to be known for helps you cut out all the noise. It's your anchor. Because there are so many opportunities to be featured in the press, be interviewed on podcasts, speak on stage, be in the room at different events. But it's so easy to get pulled into a direction that maybe takes you off your path. And I don't know if this is just a female thing. I don't know if it comes with age, but we often chase trends, or we see what's working for someone else and we're like, oh yeah, I want that. And we just get taken away from what we actually want to do ourselves. And I speak from experience when I say this. And sometimes we just have to pause and take a breath and ask ourselves the difficult questions. Is my business going in the direction I want it to? Am I working with those dreamy clients who are a hell yes? I don't have to convince them. I'm not having to hold their hand. They just trust me implicitly. So start there. And then it's a case of, who are these clients that I love working with? Where are they? What publications are they reading? What podcasts are they listening to? What events are they speaking at or going to? Because you want to get in front of them. That's where you want to be seen and heard so that eventually you are hired and paid.
Yeah, I love that. And I think it's going back to that, what do you want to be known for? This is something that obviously when I work with women, we go really into their niche and get specific on, you know, the purpose, the deep why. And I think I meet so many interior designers that get stuck in this cycle and rut of my leads have dried up. I can't work with my ideal buyers because they don't know who I am. And it starts with that piece of, what do you want to be known for? Why are you doing what you do? So I suppose when you do that deep inner work, it also has a massive ripple effect into the PR sector as well.
Yeah, of course. Because, you know, going back 10 years, you had to work with a PR agency to get featured in the press. It was inaccessible. It was for the elite. And that has changed over time. So journalists will now post requests on X. You can be in a Facebook group where you pay a subscription and journalist requests will pop up. And while that's great for the business owner, it's not great if you're not anchored into what you want to be known for, because then you have like the dopamine hit of, oh, I can be featured here in the Daily Mail. Oh, I can be over here in the Guardian. But it's noise. It's not strategic. So yes, you might end up being featured in the press. Is it about your business? Is it about your expertise? Is it sharing your growth trajectory and your business story? Because if it's not, you do not need to waste any time, effort or energy on that, because it's not going to deliver the results that you want. So for me, I'm very much focused on, let's put the tunnel vision on, let's focus on what you want to be anchored in. And it's about securing quality pieces rather than quantity. Being seen everywhere is the absolute opposite of what I want with my clients. They want premium positioning. They want to be in front of their ideal clients. Is that high-end luxury? Is that more budget-friendly, mass market, mass access? And then it's about, let's align you with the publications, the podcasts, the stages that are going to put you front and center in front of those people.
Yeah, I think that's really important, because there is such a vast amount of noise out there in terms of all the different publications, all the different type of magazines. And I think when I first meet interior designers and work with them, they're like, well, where could I position myself? Where could I go? And it's about actually looking at, what are the publications you want to be in? Now, obviously, you touched on a point there of you don't now need to work with a PR agency to get seen. This is quite a daunting aspect for someone on the other side, because they're like, oh my God, how do I even go about this feat of getting myself featured? I'm in a subscription already and I can see these things popping up, but how do I really get in front of the journalists? What questions would you be saying to, for example, someone like myself or another interior designer, for what do you want to be known for? How do we get into the crux of that?
It's easier when I'm asking the questions, because I can pull like the gold out of you. I can see like the teeny tiny thread and pull on it to really kind of extricate it. And it's almost like, what do you love to do? Yeah. Who do you love to work with, and how do you love to work with them? Because you may be really hands-on. You want to get in the weeds. You want to understand your client's personality, the sensory experience that they want to create in their home or in their business. And it's those things that really light you up that we want to cling on to for dear life. That's what we want the world to experience, because as we know, people buy from people they like. People like them. So if you show up with all your energy and really own what you do, that is going to make a massive difference to the clients you attract, the time it takes for them to go from cold to sold. So it's almost start with what you love. Yes, there's the big vision thinking. There's, in 10 years' time, I want to sell this business. In 5 years' time, I want it to be at multi-millions. Fantastic goals. From a PR perspective, it's about how are we going to get there? But we're taking baby steps, because if an idea or a dream or a goal is too big, we don't do it. We avoid it because it feels too big and too difficult. So for me, it's almost like just choose one publication. It could be one that you've been reading for years. Really dive into their content. Really look at, where would you fit? Is it you sharing trends? Is it you doing something a little bit different and maybe bringing in what we're seeing on the catwalk, bringing it into the home, bringing it into business, bringing it into hospitality? Is it the Pantone colour? Are we going to turn that into a real interior design moment? So it's just little kind of tidbits of ideas of what's around us outside of interior design that you can bring into that interior design space. So you are absolutely owning your expertise and saying to the world, hey, this is how I'm different.
I think that's so key, because we want to really hone in on a niche, but also where we want to get placed as well as an interior designer or a business owner. And I think you touched upon such a valid point there of actually reading the publication. And it's not just going out to loads of publications, it's understanding their model, because you are going to have more success if you can actually hone in on their model, understand the publication and highlight that when you're obviously emailing them, because they're going to already think, well, actually, she knows the structure of the magazine. She knows exactly where this is going to be placed, and she can physically see herself in that product. Now we need to make sure it's right for the readers. You're most probably halfway there by doing that.
Yeah. And it's the one thing that so many entrepreneurs, business owners, consultants, interior designers miss, because it's so simple. And I think, especially as women, we almost make business harder for ourselves, because we assume it's got to be like more hectic or more overwhelming. And it's like, no, start with, what do you love to read? Because if that's what you love to read or what you love to listen to, there are other people like you out there doing the same thing. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be a wallpaper. It doesn't have to be Vogue magazine. It can be something more accessible to the masses. You know, the women's weekly magazines. They're always doing lifestyle and interiors. The women's monthly glosses, always doing lifestyle and interiors. The weekend supplements in the newspapers, like, honestly, lifestyle and interiors, homes and gardens, they're always looking for content. It's just about seeing where you fit. What are you doing differently? Do you have a different opinion to what Alan Titchmarsh is saying that you should do in your garden? You know, it's okay to say something different to what the kind of the gurus or the celebrities leading the way are saying. And just randomly, if you think about it, that's why Lawrence Llewellyn-Bowen stood out all those years ago, because he was very flamboyant and he was very maximalist, and some people loved it and some people hated it, but that was him, that was his brand, that was his personality. So it's about you showing up and shining in a space where you want to be seen, you want to be known, and you know that your dream clients are consuming that content. Yeah,
I really love that. And I think so many women listening to this are going to think, okay, now I can start to see myself kind of going into the PR arena. Are there things that we should not be doing? This is most probably like, bloody hell, Lisa, how long is a piece of string? Like, I've only got so long to talk, but like, if off the top of your head, like, are there some absolute no-nos? Or have you seen some real disasters over the years?
So there are a few that I will always share with you that are quite quick to kind of fix or remedy, or at least kind of take away from this conversation. So the first thing I would say is, don't ever DM a journalist or a podcast host on social media. I always say, connect with them on socials and be sociable. You know, like their content if you genuinely like it. Comment if it's relevant, because we all remember, and it may be subconsciously, but when it comes to sending a pitch, they recognise your name. Okay. So you're already kind of getting a little foot in the door, because you are showing that you're interested in them and what they are writing about, or the kind of podcast that they're creating. Then the biggest no-no, and this isn't easy unless you do work with somebody with PR experience, but your email pitch has so much weight on its shoulders, because it's literally your first introduction to putting yourself forward. So I have a pitch formula that I follow, that I've followed for the past 22 years. It's helped me secure thousands of pieces of coverage for hundreds of clients. And it's a skill, because when it's our company, it's our brand, it's our expertise, we're used to talking about ourselves and how amazing we are and the transformations we deliver for clients from a marketing perspective. But from a PR perspective, you're almost pitching yourself in the third person.
Yeah.
And it's not about you, it's what you are going to deliver to their audience. So it's not, oh my God, I've just signed a £1.5 million contract to refit a brand new restaurant in Manchester. It's the hospitality industry is in trouble, and these are 3 things that I'm helping my clients to stand out and survive.
Yeah.
You almost have to, and it's difficult if you're not a journalist, but you have to think like a journalist. Like, would I read this? Would I open this if it was sent to me in an email? What stands out? How is this different? So the pitch almost becomes the carrot that you're dangling. Like, don't send your life story. Don't throw the kitchen sink at it. Just give them a little flavour, because they're creative people by nature. They're going to take that idea and think, that doesn't quite fit, but can we do this?
Yeah.
they still want to be involved in that kind of idea development. And some of them are so busy that they might be like, yeah, I absolutely love this. Can you write me an article? Others might say, I'm not quite sure about this. Can we just jump on a 15-minute call and flesh out some ideas? So when you're working with journalists or podcast hosts, it really is like a collaboration. And that's where you're building that trust with them. You're building a relationship, and that's when they're more likely to come back to you. So you want to make sure that pitch is as perfect as possible when you send it, because it will be the difference between it being opened or it being deleted.
So I suppose it all comes down to the reframing of what's in that subject line, which is massive to even get the click to open it up. And it's like no nonsense. It's that, like you say, that carrot dangler of, would I read a particular headline? And I suppose it comes back to the publications that you want to be seen in, and really understand the type of headlines that get put in those publications. And actually, could you see your business under a headline, and what would those headlines be, and how can you start to sculpt them out for yourself?
Yeah, for sure. And this is where AI really starts to kind of help you out when it comes to creating a headline. Because no, they're not a trained PR specialist, but they can at least help you say, this is what I do. This is the publication I want to be featured in. This is who they're aimed at. This is the type of content. Can you help me create 3 news hooks? Can you help me create 3 headlines? And then you get to decide, oh, actually, that feels really good. I saw them print something like that in the last 3 months. They're obviously interested in that. I'm going to try that one first. So you can use AI to your advantage to kind of speed up that creative process, because PR is a skill, and I'm not expecting everybody in the world to learn it, but there are savvy shortcuts you can take that minimize the amount of time that you've got to spend being, because you're creative all the time. Yeah. But it's a different creativity to sitting down and coming up with headlines.
Yeah. I think it's such a fantastic tool, but it's got to be used in the right way, because you also, I think it's so clear nowadays when you can see what AI has written compared to if you've taken inspiration and used it as a springboard and then really fleshed out yourself. Because then you've got a bit more of a human soul voice in it, and that gets recognised so much more, I assume.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I actually asked the question. So the first time I did my PR and private dining event, Spotlight Soiree, last year, I had one of the producers from Sky News in the room, and I said to him, what are your thoughts on AI created pitches? And he said, I'm not actually that bothered, but you have to make sure that the pitch best reflects your expertise, your tone, your delivery style, because if there's a disconnect between what you've sent me and how you show up on the show, I lose respect for you. Yeah. Because you're not in alignment to what you've pitched me and then how you've shown up. So absolutely use AI as a tool. Yes, it can help us speed up a process, but you still have to make sure it's you coming across in that email, because you don't want people to think that they're kind of booking one person or giving one person an opportunity and a completely different person shows up.
Yeah, I think it's just making sure that you stay true and genuine to yourself. And we had a podcast over Christmas with the Advent Calendar podcast that we had Ian from So What's Your Story? He's a huge podcaster. And he was saying, you know, it's about being real and authentic and showing up as you rather than creating something else that there is going to be such a misalignment when it goes out that they're going to say, oh, we didn't think we were talking to this particular person. There's such a disconnect.
Yeah, of course. And, you know, we see it a lot with celebrities, like Gemma Collins just springs to mind. Because on Towie, she was very much the GC, but she's not the GC every day. She's not the GC while watching TV, but when she's on appearances, she's got to put that kind of that bodysuit back on.
Yeah, that persona.
That persona, yeah. And you have to just be careful, because the persona you put out is what people buy into. So if that's not really you, you're going to just ruin your reputation. People are not going to trust you. They'll discredit you. So although it can be difficult to fully own who you are, and hands up, I went through this about 18 months ago. It's not always pretty, but actually what's on the other side is business growth, client attraction improves, the quality of leads you get in is better, you start working with clients who just absolutely light you up.
Yeah.
Keep that authentic, because I think, again, if anyone's ever been an employee, you're used to almost toeing the party line. You have to not necessarily bring so much of you into work because you're being paid to do a job. Yeah. So I think we're used to watering ourselves down. And all of a sudden, when we've got our own business, it's like, oh, wow, okay, I've got now complete creative control. And it's like, oh, my God, I've now got complete creative control.
I can turn the volume up.
But, you know, it's like with me, like I'm very experimental with fashion. So depending on how I feel in any one day, depends on what look you get from me. Yeah. But I'm still the same person. It's the same words. It's the same energy. You can be a chameleon to a certain degree, but you want to make sure that that core essence of you and your messaging and your brand and the transformation you deliver is all kind of tied up into a nice little package. So every time somebody experiences you, they know it's you.
Yeah, I think that's so key as well, is keeping it really true to yourself. And you mentioned earlier that the PR world has changed so much. And obviously you've been in this world over 2 decades now, from where PR started. You're like a veteran, Laura. In PR. And where you saw the PR industry start, from where you went in to where you are now, how can you see it even change again? And what we should be aware of maybe in the next couple of years to come with how we approach PR?
It's a really interesting question, because it has just changed beyond all recognition. It's fair to say that the foundations of PR will always be there. It's essentially you being positioned in front of your ideal customers and clients. It's you communicating with them. It's you building relationships with them. That will never change. But the channels that we now have access to, the tools we now have access to, it's a completely different ballgame. You know, when I first started in PR back in 2004, the internet was not being used for online content. Yeah. Social media did not exist yet, especially not to the masses. So you had to be featured in print, or you had to be on TV or radio, and they were your 3 options. But, you know, 20 years ago, there was so much more choice. You know, the newsstands in the supermarket or the newsagents were rammed with so many different types of publications. And over the years, that has dwindled. And I don't know if I kind of flip between it's a good thing or a bad thing, because I think print coverage was always king. And I think it always will be in terms of credibility. You know, if you've been featured in Vogue or Good Housekeeping or Wallpaper, you are still going to be seen as the creme de la creme, because they are not easy titles to be featured in. Yeah. But then now, online content, it's easily shareable. It boosts your SEO. It means that you've got something that you can share with your audience that they can click through. And these online sites, they need more eyeballs. They want you to click on their content. They want you to stay on their pages as long as possible and see what else is online. So it's understanding the benefits of each different type of medium to your business. And you know, I've now created my own PR private members club, because I see so many entrepreneurs and business owners, they want to speak on stage. And I'm like, absolutely, that is possible. But if people don't know who you are, it's going to be more difficult for you to break through. So prioritize speaking on podcasts, because then you've got something living and breathing that you can share, that they can listen and hear. Oh my God, yeah, she's going to be a brilliant fit. Get featured in the press, because it just shows the credibility, the thought leadership, the trends pieces. And for me, I'm very much like, I'm not here to make shortcuts, but I'm here to make life easier.
And I think it's about stacking that as well. It's like, yes, we all aim for the big stage at the end of the day, but actually let's look at the experience of the journey and how to get there. And it's having all those little stacked moments of PR that then build up the portfolio. You don't know who's watching or listening that then can approach you. And actually, if you only focused on that bit up there and not this section here, it's then like, well, actually, what you're missing here and who could interject and bring something else to the table, you're going to miss out on that.
Yeah, of course. And one thing I have to kind of remind people is it's okay to want PR for ego, but we want it to be moving the needle in your business.
Absolutely.
And I remember years ago, I used to hate saying, oh, my client's been featured in Women's Weekly, because people would be like, who wants to be in Women's Weekly? Completely disregarding the fact
I
that
love Women's Weekly.
her ideal clients are in Women's Weekly. Women's Weekly is a legacy publication that is still in print after how many decades?
Yeah, absolutely.
That has a loyal audience.
I get it delivered to my house, by the way.
My God, I love that.
I love it. I open it every Sunday morning and I have my cup of tea whilst the boys are just going crazy around the kitchen at night. Firstly, go to Susie's Star section. That is the absolute best. Then I go to the makeup. Then I look at all the home stuff. And then I read the trash at the end, and it's the best thing ever.
Yeah, I mean, what more could you want?
It's girl's dream on a Sunday.
But it's almost not focusing too much on what the publication is. So as an example, I'm working with a global business strategist at the moment, and we got her featured in an online business publication last month. From that, the editor then said, we'd love her to contribute a regular column. Would she be up for it? Oh, and actually, we're hosting a private event talking about 8-figure business owners building an exit strategy. Would she like to come along? Now, neither of those opportunities would have happened had she not have hired us to do the PR on her behalf. But you don't need to hire me to get those opportunities. I can work alongside you to make those opportunities happen. And again, I think unless you're really tracking what's happening as a consequence of being featured, because again, we're all just kind of like bouncing to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, that we're not actually stopping and thinking, hold on, what did that opportunity bring? Because it may not be a client immediately. It may not be a sale immediately, but it could be, oh my God, I heard you on this podcast. Will you come and speak on mine? And this happens to me. And it happened in November last year. I'd been on a podcast in India. Now, obviously, podcasts are global. And I'm very much like, I just want to show up and share my message and allow people to hear my voice. So with podcasts, I will pretty much say yes to anything. Obviously, I'm not saying that's the reason why I'm here today.
Don't you even try it, Laura.
But from that podcast, somebody connected with me on LinkedIn, sent me a message and said, my wife has just heard you on this podcast. She thinks she'll be a great guest for my podcast. Will you come on? Yeah, of course I will. Yeah. And it's just interesting to see over time which press opportunities open doors to other opportunities, because being featured in the magazines doesn't always lead to anything. Yeah. But for you, it's a credibility piece. It's something, it's kind of career defining because it's not available to everyone.
Yeah. I think it's that important message is making sure that you are looking at all of the outputs of where you want to be seen and what other opportunities that could lead to as well, which is really important. So before I round up the podcast, with the listeners listening and all the women, if you were to give them one final lasting piece of advice before they flee the nest into the world of PR, hopefully to connect with you on socials and see how fabulous you are. But what would that piece of advice be for them?
I would say you are allowed to work at any pace that you want. And when I first work with clients, they always say to me, oh, you know, how many pictures should I be sending a week? And it's like, don't even think about how many you need to send a week. Just start with one, because that's one more than you did last week, last month, last year. And then maybe next week do 2. Or just keep doing 1 a week, and then next month maybe do 6 in the month or 8 You've got to do it at your pace, because it's one more thing. It should be the thing that you prioritise, but realistically it's one more thing that you need to do. And when you're running a business and when you're building your brand and you're connecting with people and you have a family and pets and, you know, you still have a life. So for me, I always say prioritise PR, because that is going to get you to where you want to go faster. It helps you create content for social media. It gives you a reason to go back to clients who didn't work with you previously. But just set your own pace. Don't worry about how quickly other people are going. Don't worry about where you think you need to be seen. Just really enjoy the process, because if you're not enjoying it, you're not going to do it.
I love that. I think that's such great advice for people starting to think about PR strategies in their business, and also really honing in on what do you want to be known for and how do you create that? And what's that 1% shift going to be in your business this week or next week to move the needle with it? So, Laura, thank you so much for all of your words of wisdom today.
Thank you so much. I've loved being here. It makes sense. Makes sense for me to show up on your podcast.
Oh, thank you very much. It's great to have you and hopefully have you again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much to everyone listening today. And I will be back with another podcast very shortly. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Design Boss Dialogue. If you love what you heard, then please share the podcast with your friends and any women that could do with a dose of empowerment just from me. I would love to hear your thoughts around today's podcast with your key takeaways and wins, because your feedback means everything to me. Also, don't forget to leave a review as well as hit that follow button so you never miss out on any inspiring conversations with me or any other trailblazing women I have on. Stay tuned for more exciting episodes, and remember, unleashing your inner design power and unlocking your true potential is only a click away. See you next time.